The impossible clockmaker 2,500 years ago. The world was a place of ritualistic shadows. If you fell ill in ancient Greece, you prayed to Asclepius. If you bled in the stepped cities of Mesopotamia, you looked for demons in your bile. But in the city of Kashi, now known as Varanasi, a man was doing the unthinkable. He was sitting in the damp heat of the Ganges, peeling back human skin with the cold, calculated precision of a master clockmaker. His name was Sushruta. But the deeper you dig into the archives of his work, the Sushruta Samhita, the more the man himself begins to dissolve into a terrifying enigma. We are taught that modern surgery is a product of the 19th century scientific revolution. Yet here is a figure from 6th century BCE performing procedures that wouldn't be invented in the West for another 2 millennia. The mystery isn't just that he did it. The mystery is, how was he allowed to? And where did this impossible knowledge actually come from? In the ancient world, the human body was sacred, or at least the dead were. To mutilate a corpse was to invite a curse. In the West, centuries later, surgeons like Vesalius had to steal bodies from the gallows in the dead of night to learn anatomy. But Sushruta's method was far more unsettling, far more patient. He didn't use a blade to learn. He used the river. Imagine the scene. The surgeon selects a body, one not ravaged by poison or age. He places the corpse inside a bamboo cage, wrapping it in layers of grass and hemp. He sinks this cage into a hidden, slow-moving part of the Ganges. For 7 nights, he leaves it there. He waits for the water to begin the process of decomposition, softening the glue that holds a human being together. When he pulls the cage up, the body is a soft, translucent map of what it once was. Sushruta didn't dissect in the modern sense. He used a brush made of fine grass to literally sweep away the layers of softened skin and fat. Layer by layer, the nerves, the muscles, and the blood vessels were revealed, glistening under the torchlight. He was seeing the human machine in a way no one else on Earth would see it for thousands of years. He wasn't just a doctor. He was a man unraveling the tapestry of life itself. Perhaps the darkest part of the Sushruta mystery is the concept of the Marmas. Sushruta identified 107 vital points on the human body, geographic locations on the skin where muscle, bone, and spirit supposedly met. But these weren't just points of healing. They were points of death. He warned his students that a single puncture, a fraction of an inch deep in the wrong shadow point, could cause instant blindness, permanent madness, or a heart that simply forgets how to beat. Modern neurologists have looked at these ancient maps and felt a chill down their spines. These marmas correspond almost perfectly to major nerve plexuses and arterial junctions. How did a man in 600 BCE, without a microscope, without a nervous system map, know exactly where the kill switches of the human body were located? Some wonder if Sushruta was tapping into a remnant of a lost antiquity, a civilization that mastered the flesh long before our recorded history began. To cut into a living person is an act of violence unless the mind is elsewhere. The dark mystery of ancient surgery often stops at the pain. How did they survive it? Sushruta didn't just use brute force. He was a master of the void. He used a cocktail of banga cannabis, wine, and heavy fumes of burning herbs to pull the patient's consciousness away from their body. He utilized the datura plant, the devil's trumpet. In the wrong dose, it is a lethal poison. In his hands, it was a bridge to a state of twilight where the nerves went silent. He practiced a form of hypnotic suggestion, combined with heavy sedation that allowed him to work for hours on patients who remained eerily still. There are accounts of patients waking up with no memory of the agony, believing they had simply walked through a long, dark tunnel of incense. In the ancient city of Kashi, the law was brutal. If you were caught in the act of adultery or theft, the punishment wasn't a prison cell. The state took your nose. It was the ultimate mark of the socially dead. You walked the world with a gaping hole in the center of your face, a permanent walking shadow of your shame. Sushruta saw these outcasts, and he decided to play God. In the dim, flickering light of oil lamps, he would perform the Indian rhinoplasty. He would measure the missing nose with a leaf. Then he would slice a flap of skin from the patient's forehead, but he wouldn't cut it off. He left a pedicle, a bridge of flesh to keep the blood flowing. He would then twist the skin, literally flipping it upside down, and stitch it over the void. To keep the airway open, he inserted 2 hollow reeds into the nostrils. He was erasing the marks of justice, literally rebuilding the identities of the condemned. To perform these feats, you need more than just knowledge. You need tools. The Sushruta Samhita describes over 120 different surgical instruments. Scalpels, forceps, needles, many designed to look like the beaks of birds or the jaws of lions to help the surgeon visualize the grip of the tool. He described a needle so fine it could split a human hair. He described steel that didn't rust and held an edge through bone. This points to the use of Wootz steel, a high-carbon crucible steel that wouldn't be replicated in the West for centuries. But why haven't we found these tools? The earth has swallowed the physical evidence, leaving us with a ghost tech that seems too advanced for its time. Did he work alone, or was he part of a secret society of surgeons? A lineage of men who knew the human body better than they knew their own names? Then the light went out. By the time the Middle Ages arrived, much of this practical knowledge began to fade. The hands-on cutting became seen as unclean by later religious shifts, and the surgeons were pushed to the fringes. The living tradition of the knife was replaced by the chanting of mantras. The dark irony? As India began to lose its grip on this knowledge, the texts were being smuggled out, feeding the Islamic Golden Age and eventually trickling into the hands of European Renaissance doctors. But the loss of Sushruta's physical tools is nothing compared to the greatest intellectual catastrophe in human history. Imagine a building that held every secret of the ancient world, from the blueprints of the pyramids to the lost plays of Sophocles and the true maps of the stars. Imagine it all turning to ash in a single night of fire and ignorance. A loss so great that it arguably set human progress back by 1,000 years. Next time we descend into the smoke and the silence of the desert to find out what really happened when the lights went out on the ancient world. The Library of Alexandria. How the world's greatest library was lost.